In the bulletin, Ghana hopeful bilateral creditors would consent to sufficient debt relief to enable government to secure $3 billion IMF bailout. Also in the bulletin, Opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, expresses disappointment over inability to submit petition to the Inspector General of Police on a Greek Minister, Bryan Champong's comment. Later on the international front, Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, seeks dismissal of Labour Party's Peter Obi's election challenge. Details of these and some other stories coming your way shortly. Please do stay with us. The news is on DSTV channel 279. We are also streaming across the world on TV3 Ghana, Facebook, and on Twitter as well. Do get interactive with us. The details now. The Opposition National Democratic Congress were at the police headquarters to present a petition to the Inspector General of Police over their Greek Minister and a Betifi Member of Parliament, Bryan Champong's "We would never hand over power" comments. Although the team was successful at presenting the petition, they are accusing the Inspector General of Police of invading their petition. My colleague Noble Crosby Annan has more in this report.
Call it political communication gone sour, or a case of unbridled enthusiasm at a political rally. The Director of Legal of the NDC, Abdulrahman, together with some other lawyers, have presented a petition to the CID boss, Madam Faustina Kwadwo, demanding the arrest of Food and Agriculture Minister Bryan Champong.
His comments on that day border on one, national security, and two, an affront to the Constitution. And as lawyers, we think that the police administration must be interested in this matter. The CID boss indicated to us his appreciation of what we have done, and she was of the view that she would take the necessary steps, having received the petition.
The presentation of the petition to the CID was uneventful, but then a copy had to be presented to the Inspector General of Police. The NDC puts it, the IGP evaded receiving the petition.
We actually saw him standing at the car park with some officers. We couldn't go to him directly. We had to go through the reception. And so when we got to the reception, we were told to come to the outer reception, which we did. Now, at the outer reception, we were told that the IGP wasn't there. It's a clear indication of an IGP who was clearly evading our document.
According to them, they are confident of a swift investigation and handling of the matter based on a precedent.
The police administration, not long ago, gave a clear indication that they were not going to tolerate such comments, particularly when the youth organizer of Swami, the NDC youth organizer, was arrested. What we are doing is not derogating from that. What we are doing is furthering what the police has already started doing. And so we are confident.
The Director of Legal of the NDC says he will provide the police with some reasonable timelines to work on the matter, fellow of which the NDC will be compelled to take other steps to getting this issue resolved.
There's always the reasonable time period. We are not about to tell the police how to do their work. We'll give them a certain reasonable time. Failure to act on it, we will now take the next step. Let everybody know in this country that the police administration is beginning to be choosy and the police administration is beginning to be biased.
Well, according to the NDC, they will see this matter to its logical conclusion. From the CID headquarters, Noble Crosby Annan.
Let's get some reactions on the back of this. Founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyaho Temaklo, has been taking a swipe at the opposition NDC for taking steps to petition the police CID over the comments made by a Greek Minister, Bryan Champong. Even though the NPP stalwart has condemned the comments and described them as senseless and reckless, he believes the police already has the mandate to invite their Greek Minister and set in motion processes to call the former National Security Minister to order.
Well, I personally think it wasn't necessary for the NDC to petition the IGP because The IGP should know his work. He should know exactly what institutes a criminal act and act upon that as an IGP without being forced by anybody. So I definitely don't think the NDC was right, even in getting in touch with him. Now, what I heard this evening on news was that they were unable even to meet him. And that comes to confirm exactly what I've done. Because we've had a similar case in Kumasi, where the gentleman involved is in the law courts at the moment. So if the IGP definitely has heard of what happened in Kwadwo, and for more than 48 hours have been silent on that, I think he should be left alone. That's all. And that tells you the state of our security setup vis-a-vis the police itself. I don't believe that the police itself is independent. I don't believe that. So I would not definitely have gone to the police to have such a case settled. As we all heard on the network, is that the IGP himself evaded the NDC lawyers who came to his office to have a chat with him. I was able to see through this very early, and as such, I don't think it was even necessary to get the police involved with this. They don't have to. They don't have at all to be, what do you call it, talked to by somebody, particularly the IGP, before they act. They have acted on numerous occasions when nobody has asked them to do so. So I was expecting them to act, and they didn't act. And to me, that is a big, 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 big mistake from the IGP.
The new Patriotic Party is today presenting a counter-petition to the Inspector General of Police to arrest former President John Dramani Mahama and the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, over comments they made which were alleged to be insightful in connection with the 2024 elections. National organizer of the NPP, Henry Boachi, told Alfred Okansi on Ghana Tonight the two made comments in the past which have the potential to undermine the peace of the country. It comes on the heels of an earlier petition presented by the NDC to the CID over a great minister, Brian Champongs. We would never hand over power comments.
We have just finalized and concluded a petition to be submitted to the Ghana Police Service, the CID department, for the arrest, investigation and prosecution of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, for comments is made which has violent tendencies. And you recall that he said that for the NDC, they were born out of the revolution. And then we know what the features of the revolution is: the last shed, visiting mayhem, violence. And for the NDC, they are a violent political party. And when it comes to unleashing violence, they are unmatched. The 2024 elections at the police station is going to be boot for boot. It's going to be do or die. These comments are a threat to national security, a threat to the peace and stability. These comments are affront to the democratic stability we have in this country. So we have also petitioned the police CID to arrest and investigate and prosecute the former president for some of these criminally intended statements he uttered. You recall that Mr. Asiedu Nketia have also said that they will do anything to make sure they win this election, even including sacrificing their lives.
If you call yourself as an honorable person, then you need to act as one. These are the words of the chairman of the Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edu-Gyamfi, in his reaction to comments by the Agricultural Minister and Abetifi Member of Parliament, Brian Champong, that the ruling New Patriotic Party will not hand over power to the opposition National Democratic Congress. The council is to summon all players in the political space by end of month on an intemperate language guideline.
The comments by the Agric Minister and Abetifi Member of Parliament, Brian Champong, has been met with varied views in the last few days. Many have condemned his comments, which they say has the tendency to fester chaos as the country prepares for the 2024 polls. According to the Peace Council, such utterances should be avoided.
And it's not helping us. Sometimes some of these things come as a reaction to what some other people have said. But because it's current, you are likely to forget the others. But for the Peace Council, we are compiling all of those. And we want to place it before all of them. That, look, these are the things you guys are saying. We all sat here and agreed that we need to be careful. And if all of us have agreed on those things, we expect all players to be mindful of what we have said and abide by those things so that we don't go out making statements that incite the public against the country. For as far as my capacity is concerned, if I call myself an honorable person, then I need to be careful with what I say and how I say it.
Reverend Edu-Gyamfi says the council has introduced a guideline for the use of intemperate language among political parties for proper dialogue.
We launched the guide on intemperate language, hoping that it will guide us not only in terms of political space, but also even in the media, how people speak and what they say and how they say it. Subsequently, we've seen and had various footages of statements made by political actors from all the political divide, which is not in the best interest of the country. And so we want to use the opportunity we have now to appeal to them that just as we had a discussion here, we expect them to abide by the decisions we took.
He is of the view mediation is key in resolving such issues.
Ours is mediation, and so we do that as much as possible. We bring them, and we think that when you appeal to the conscience of people, it makes much more sense. For instance, right now everybody is expecting you go out and condemn this. Condemnation doesn't solve any problem, but we appeal to the conscience of people. Is it right in your capacity as a gentleman to make this or that statement?
The council will, by the end of this month, meet with all parties.
Former General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Kwabena Yeboah, says he represents the new dawn that the ruling party desperately needs to retain power in 2024. He believes there's a crying need within the party for fresh energy after 16 years of the Kwadwo ticket. The 2024 flag bearer hoped for a show of leading a dramatic government which would crack the whip on corruption. He spoke to Black Rasta on Urban Blend on 3FM.
It's easier to start cutting the waste in Ghana.
That's true.
And there's a lot of waste in Ghana. We've seen Auditor General's report one after the other.
Corruption.
First and foremost, it comes in years late, which should not be allowed. And President Ejipon will ensure that the Auditor General does his work in a timely manner. And then I would not hesitate to fire people and take the decisive, difficult decisions to send a strong signal to the country that this is a new era. It's a new dawn. We cannot tinker with the public treasury the way it is being done. You understand? So if you consolidate all these amounts of money that have been misapplied, according to the Auditor General's report, far in excess of the paltry 3 billion we are looking for from the IMF.
Exactly that.
And now we have lithium. We know what lithium will do for the future. And I hope we can safeguard it properly. We should be able to be in a position as president to encourage Ghanaians to go into the mining sector in a proper way. And so that when Ghanaians become wealthy, they keep their money in Ghana. I am going to be dramatically different. And I think after 16 years of the Akufo-Addo ticket on top of the NPP, there's a crying need for fresh energy, new set of ideas. And I think Kwabena Yeboah, I represent the new dawn that the MPP can use to win power.
Now let's cross over to Washington, D.C., where my colleague Sani Abdulrahman has been reporting.
Well, the finance minister has been tight-lipped here in Washington, but we've been monitoring his movements. We know he started his day with a meeting with some members of the Paris Club, including China, as the minister and his team try to get the financing assurances which the IMF board is requiring before it would grant the much-needed bailouts that the country is seeking. From there, the minister also participated in the G24 intergovernmental meeting. G24, you are aware, is a group that seeks to coordinate the position of developing countries as far as monetary issues and development around the world is concerned. Also in the morning, the World Bank issued the 8 global reports where we saw the bank slashing down its forecast for global growth. And that raised quite important concerns, because they are saying that inflation will remain elevated, which means prices of goods and services that ordinary consumers purchase will remain elevated. We know back in Ghana, this is a major problem because inflation is still about 50%. That has led to the Bank of Ghana being hawkish, increasing the policy rates in an attempt to achieve price stability, which has resulted in the cost of borrowing going up, and that is really crippling businesses. Well, China has indicated its commitment to providing whatever support that will help Ghana come out of the storms. Remember, Ghana is an important trade partner of China, but the request for China to co-chair the creditor committee, we are picking that China has subtly declined that offer, but is willing to participate in the conversation and look at how best Ghana's external debt can be restructured to enable the country secure the much-needed IMF bailouts.
There's more of this on 3Business on 3News.com. Let's do some other stories now. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association migration of health professionals will continue until government enhances the working conditions of health workers. The association was reacting to the red enlisting of Ghana among some 54 countries from being actively considered for recruitment by health and social care employers by the UK government.
The code, titled Code of Practice Red and Amber List of Countries, states that some developing countries, such as Ghana, should not be targeted when actively recruiting health or care professionals. According to the UK government, the list is based upon the World Health Organization Workforce Support and Safeguard List 2023 and will be updated alongside progress reports on WHO Global Code implementation and reported to the World Health Assembly every 3 years. It will be recalled that in March this year, the WHO included Ghana and 54 other countries on its health workforce support and safeguard list, stating that these countries face the most pressing health workforce challenges related to universal health coverage. Already, the Ghana Medical Association has expressed worry over the alarming level of brain drain situation in the health sector, noting that the situation has worsened lately due to the migration of experienced professionals such as midwives and doctors.
There are several ways in which we can help to ensure that at least these doctors stay within country. We know that a lot of people have left, a lot more people have left. We don't have the numbers, and a lot more are preparing to leave.
This red alert has thus come as an intervention to check the situation, but the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association has some reservations.
It will not stop migration. Nurses will continue to go to UK. They will continue to go to different parts of the country because it's of the world, because UK is actively not recruiting, but individuals can still apply and be recruited into UK. The main reason why nurses and midwives are leaving the source of Ghana is because of their conditions of sex. So if government will heed to the plight of the union, the association, to improve on the living conditions of nurses and midwives, I think it will cut down on the migration issue.
According to the association, it's about time government adopts a more robust approach to structure migration.
Currently, they've put migration on hold. If you go to the ministry, you are not giving clearance. And we think migration is the right of the Ghanaians. You cannot hold them here in Ghana when you are not satisfying their job satisfaction. So we need to open up the system, do a broader stakeholder consultation, and think about a more robust approach.
Of the 54 countries, 37 are from Africa, with 14 countries from West Africa.
Let's do some international news now. Nigeria's ruling party has asked the appeals court to dismiss the petition by third-place candidate Peter Obi, who is challenging victory of President-elect Bola Tinubu following a disputed February election. Labour Party's Peter Obi, who came third in the election, and second-place opposition People's Democratic Party's Atiku Abubakar last month separately challenged the results in court. The two candidates said the results were fraudulent, citing Tinubu as ruling All Progressives Congress Party and the Independent National Electoral Commission as respondents. In a countersuit, on Tuesday, APC said Obi's petition should be dismissed on several grounds, including that Obi was not a Labour Party member when he contested the election and that he failed to include Atiku as a respondent. Obi, who was Atiku's running mate in 2019, left the PDP in May last year to join the Labour Party. The APC is arguing that Obi was not yet a member within Labour Party when he submitted his members' registers to the Electoral Commission as required by law.